Howdy do? How are you? Hey there. It is September 2nd. It is. So, for those that thought it was too early to start with the O-Fest beers, the Oktoberfest beers, the Americans, well, I think we can go ahead and start popping them now. I've actually already done a video for one, the Mothers, because, well, it came out. I felt I needed to really get one out there, get a video done. But then I picked up this one here, the Santa Fe Brewing Company, Meritzen. Let me get ready to pop it here, but let me read from their website. They use Pilsen and Munich malts. They also use Hirschbrecher and Tettnanger hops. So, looking at those ingredients would lead me to believe that they're staying fairly true to the style. Many will add other things. I mean, they're using Pilsen and Munich malts. They're not adding anything else crazy in there. They're using German hops with the Hirschbrecher and Tettnanger. So, let me get this up here and pour for you. I'm using my Sam Adams glass. I hope nobody gets offended. And if you do, well, I don't give a rat's ass. There you go. This pours nice. Very nice, creamy, dense head. It has the flavors, well, aroma-wise, it has the aromas that you expect from a beer like this. Now, the American craft beer industry has typically just taken every traditional style and turned it up on its ear, especially if you look at the IPA. What we are currently calling an IPA really is nowhere near what a traditional British IPA was. There are many. I have several beer friends online that are very militant about specific styles, but somehow they usually give the IPA a pass. Like, well, they had just evolved. But certain other styles they don't like when they, evolve. This is one style really that has really been left alone. Most American styles tend to run about 5.5. This one runs on the slightly larger end at about 6%. Most traditional German models, run anywhere between 5 to 6%. None really get over 6. Most run about that 5.5 margin. This gives you, again, it gives you the aromas and flavors that you expect from a beer like this. It's not crazy one direction or the other. Meant to be an early fall beer, so it's meant to be somewhat refreshing and satisfying. It's supposed to be somewhat refreshing because it's not really, really cold yet. Of course, it may be in Germany. Who the hell knows? I'm not there. But it's supposed to have enough malt in where it's comforting and satisfying as we start heading into the fall months. I am a fan of the style. I actually don't drink it as much as I once did. At one time, it was my style, man. It was the style that I loved to drink all the time and wished it was a year-rounder, because I dug the big malts. But, of course, like most craft beer drinkers, I'm fiddling with my stuff here because everything's looking funny. Anyways, I'm losing my marbles. OCD's a bitch, man. Yeah. Anyways, I digress. I'm not sure what you could do with a style like this if American craft brewers decide to evolve it. I mean, I've never seen an Imperial Märzen or an Imperial Oktoberfest. I guess you could just take it and malt the living crap out of it, boost that sucker to 10%, but you couldn't make this. This isn't meant to be a hoppy beer, so you really couldn't do a lot with it on that end, so. But it is one of those beers, one of the few styles that I can think of, to be honest with you, that American craft brewers haven't tinkered the hell out of. They've added some different malts and played around with some hops here and there, but most American craft brewers that do an Oktoberfest stay pretty close to a traditional German Oktoberfest. Most of them do not go crazy with this, and I think I'm not sure why that is, other than there's a lot of loyalists to this style. And I think there should be something said for for remaining true to the style. You know, if a style should be between X and X, you know, certain parameters, ABV wise or IBU wise, maybe I'll think about keeping it there. But then again, I mean, there shouldn't be rules either, right? If you have an idea, hey, let's take this idea. I love the idea of the Meriton. What if I did this? Yeah, you know what? I'm not real militant about it either. I don't have an issue with tinkering with things either, you know. Because if American craft breweries weren't allowed to tinker, we wouldn't have some of the crazy, amazing beers that we have, like the Stone 17, for instance, the Götterdämmerung IPA. I mean, they've taken Pilsner ingredients and made an IPA out of it. I mean, that's some tinkering ass shit. I'll tell you that right now. You know, yeah, you gotta be able. Not every experiment works. That's the thing, and that's why the folks that are extremely militant about specific styles, yeah, it kind of makes my head hurt a little bit because that's how you find out, right? I mean, it's like cooking. I love to cook, but I mean, I'm not saying you know, a meatball doesn't necessarily have to be made a specific way. I can change the meats out. I can change the spices. I can do this and that, and by God, it's still a freaking meatball. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't listen to those people that say, "Tom, now you only can put this in your meatball." You know, it just doesn't make sense with food, and it doesn't make sense with beer to me. Now, if you want to say to me, well, it's really not that style anymore if you do that, well, that's okay. You can certainly say that. But but in many cases, these creative styles that Americans have come up with, I won't say better than the traditional styles, but they are just as good. And in some cases, well, I mean, it's these crazy creative beers that have really taken this craft beer industry in a whole different direction. I mean, because it started growing in the late '80s, early '90s, mid '90s, but it really didn't take off to where it's taking off now until about the last half dozen years. So, and that's because some of these younger craft breweries have really decided to take it a whole different direction. You know, breweries like Stone, for instance, Lagunitas, younger breweries like Mother's, Urban Chestnut out of St. Louis, and Four Hands that have, taken traditional styles and then invented their own styles on top of that, which would why I believe, the American craft beer industry is so great is because they're not afraid. Well, they're not afraid to do something new. They're not afraid to irritate the militant, the militant faction of the craft beer wing. And sometimes you got to piss people off to do something incredible. But having said all that, this is a fine traditional, loyalist version of the style. It doesn't do anything crazy, it doesn't do anything wild, but it is a Meriton. It tastes like a Meriton is supposed to taste. It is very lightly hoppy. It is somewhat refreshing, but it is mostly satisfying. There's some big roasted malts, but not too big. And there you go. At 6%, slightly bigger than most, but I'm not going to hold that against it because it has all the flavors that you want in this style. So there you go.